Hello friends, welcome to another episode of our Fullstack Task Manager. And in this episode, we are going to continue where we left from. So if you remember, this is where we left from. So we're going to quickly fix this details page as well as we'll fix the various forms. Yeah. Okay, so let's continue from where we left. Okay, so I'll open. Okay, so here, let's go to the tax details page. Okay, so in this tax details page, I will bring common imports and as well as icons that we have been using. Okay, so I'll copy them and bring them here. Okay, so we'll use this utility to combine classes, moments, to show when the message was posted. You can also use, I think, date fs, yeah, and react and use state, as well as these are icons from React icons. Also an icon. These are also icons. And this is also an icon from React icons, as well as use params to get the ID of the task from React Router DOM. And this is for toast notification from Sona. Okay, great. I also have some data prepared, so I'll bring it and explain since it's nothing that much. Okay. So I'm going to create space so that you see and paste it here. Okay, so let's start from the top. Okay, so if you look, these are assets. So we have dummy assets. These are images from pixels, right? Okay, so you can get any images you want, an array of 4 images. Then I also have an icons for high, medium, as well as low, right? Okay, to indicate when the task is the priority, right, of the task. And these are also background colors for the priorities or task. And also I have tabs. So if you see, you can see, you realize that when you check from our site, right? If you check from here, you can see that we have tax detail and we have the activity, right? Good. So so that's what we have this here. So we'll use the same tab like we used, the one we created on the tax page. So we use the same thing, and these are the various tabs, as well as we have the tax type icon, right? So in here, we'll have various icons for the activities, right? So there are various icons. So, when it is comment, we'll have this icon, right? And we also have backgrounds for it. So if you go back, check, you see that we have backgrounds for it. That's why we have it this way in a div. Then I put a background, right? Okay. So you can, pause it and type or I'll leave it on GitHub for you to copy and paste it. And when it is started, when the activity type is started, we'll have this icon as well as assigned, bags, and completed, and in progress. So you can have as many as tags you want, depending on your use case or your need. Okay. And also, let me toggle this one too. And also, lastly, we have the activity types, right? So the various activity types is started, completed, in progress, comments, bag, or assigned, right? Great. Okay, so those are the things that we'll need. Okay, so now let us come here. So now we'll first need to get the ID of the task, right? Using the use params. Use params. Okay. Okay, so if you go to check here, you see that we are passing an ID. So that is what we're getting from here, right? We're getting the ID. Okay. Also, we will need some states, so let's declare them before we forget. So selected, as well as set selected, right? And it should come from use state. And by default, it should be to 0. Okay, because we need to determine the tab, which one is selected, right? Okay. Now here I am going to get a dummy task. So I'll say task should be equal to the task that we have, right? And I'll pass first in the 0 to get the first task. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's work on it. Okay, great. So now in here, let's remove this and begin by giving classes, right? So we'll give width of full. It should be flex column, gap of 3, MB4, that's margin bottom 4. And we want overflow of flow y of hidden. Okay, overflow y hidden. Okay, so inside this div, we'll have an h1 for title, which will be the tax dot title, right? Okay, so tax dot title, and let's begin give classes. Okay, so we want the text to be to Excel. The text color should be gray dash 600, and the font of bold. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so here, so let's check. Let's just go to it should be what's the URL? It should be, I think, if we check something like this, it should be task, right? So maybe I can copy this, something like this, and it goes there. Okay, okay, so we have text as the name. Okay, so now let's have our tab. So I will import the tabs. Okay, great. And now let's pass the various props to it. So the tabs will be equal to tabs that we have here, and set selected will also be equal to the set selected that we have. Okay, so inside it, now we'll say that selected, right? If selected is equal to 0, then not this question mark, then let's have this fragment, else let's also have another fragment. Okay, great. So inside here now we're going to show the details of the task, right? Okay, great. So let's first have a div inside, and this div will have classes. Okay, so width of full, flex column on MD should be flex row and a gap of 5. On 2 Excel, right? The gap should be 8, gap of 8. Great. And a BG of white. We want a shadow. Shadow, okay, shadow MD and PX of 8, as well as PY of also 8. With this, we can just say P-8. Great. And also overflow, right? Y of overflow, Y of auto. Great. Let me break it down. Good. Inside it, we have another div. Okay, so you realize we have, the various groupings. So that's why we have a lot of divs inside. Okay, so class name also width of full. Want you to take the full width, and on MD screen, the width should be 1/2. We want half of it because the image will also take half, and want space of Y of what? 8. So the images will also take half of this, half of the screen. Then the text content also go to half of the screen. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll have another of this same one here. So I think I can just copy it. Okay, so we have these two. So inside this one, let's begin to work inside this. Okay, so let's work inside this one. Dave, great. Okay, so inside this one, it should be flex items to center at a gap of 5. Okay, so if you remember, we have created the styles for the we have created kind of this style over and over again. So this and that, I will not waste time. I'll just copy and bring it. Okay, so that one will go inside this one. So I'll just paste it here. So we have a div with class name, and we're using our utility to combine classes. And we have this which we need to import, right? And we will refer to the tax priority, as well as we have the background color using the tax priority. Okay, and there are also the icons, right? Okay, so we can save and check if we're making good. So we have it here, right? Great. Now also to the left of it, we also have okay, also to the left we have that box to show the whether it is a to do or not, right? So here great. Okay, so beneath this div, right? Okay, so let me toggle it. I'll just bring that one also. So if you remember, it's just this items to center, and we have the div that shows the color, right? Color, and I think we are not showing the color. The color should be task. No, I guess I can just copy and paste it. Great. Okay, just something like this, right? Tax type. Okay, which also come, and now I think we'll have it as well. Okay, so this is also a to do. Great. So now let us continue. Okay, let's continue. So now below that div, right? So below this div, right? If you toggle it, great. Still inside this one, right? Great. So maybe I can label it, this is the left and the other is the right. Okay, so still inside the left. Still inside the left, we will have date, which we have done it again and again. So that one too, I'll just copy and bring it. And we're using created a date of that post, right? I mean of the task, and we're setting the background to 500. Okay. After the date, now we need to show the assets. So if you check this time, it's not like the one we have. We just have assets, right? Assets. Then we show the number of assets, and the subtask. We also show the number of subtasks that we have. Okay, great. So that one too. Okay. So it's really simple. So I mean, I can just copy then bring it here. Okay, so if you check now, we have this, right? We have this div. Now we have flex items to center, gap of 8 and pattern of 4, and we also have a border y that is top and bottom, and the color of the border is gray 200. Now inside it we have two div with a span tag, so these two, right, and this, so we have 3 items in it. Now this is one item, the span is also another, and this is also another item. Now this and this are kind of same, right? So the same style, space y2, right? Which we have in a test which says asset, then we have the length of the assets. So asset tags.asset.length. We want to show the number of assets that we have. And we also have a span tag with this pipe, right? pipe just to divide it. And we have given it the color of gray 400. And we have the same thing with this type subtask and also the length of the task. Okay. Now below it, now here we can work from here. Okay, so below this, right? Great. We can now work from here. So now let us have another div with classes. Okay, so now we're also gonna have space y of 4 and py of 6. Okay, so inside it we have a paragraph tag that says task theme. So we want to show the team members of the task, right? So let's start it. So classes, we'll say the text should be gray-600, the font semi-bold, and the text should be small. Okay, now beneath it we'll have another div and styles. Okay, class names, also space of y of 3. Okay, so we're giving space. Now we need to say tags if exist dot team as dot map. We want to map over the team members, so we get team as m and also get the index. Okay, then instantly we can return something. Okay, what are we going to return? Let us return a div first. Okay, great. Now for optimization, we have to give key. It's important. So key will be equal to the index. Okay, great. Let's also add classes. So classes, class name, and we say it should be flex gap of 4, py of 2, items to center, and border dash top. Then the border color should be gray dash 200. Okay, great. Now I'm going to copy this and bring it because we have done it again and again. So inside it, right, inside this div, I will bring this where we are showing the user initials. So if you remember, we have done this over and over again. So there's no need to repeat or waste time on it, but let's make sure we import this function. Okay, and let's go check if we're making progress. Okay, so we are here, right? Great. So let's check. Okay, so we're making progress. So we have 3 users, right? Great job. Okay, so now beneath this, right? Great. Now we need to show the user. So we have a div, div, great. And in the div, we have a paragraph tag to say m as this dot name, that's the username, right? Great. And we also have a span tag. Great, a span tag m dot title. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's style them. So let's start the name first. The text should be LG, large, and font of semi-bold. Okay, then let's also start the span text of gray dash 500. Okay, oh, okay, there is a mistake here. Let me change my keyboard. Okay, great, it's working now. Great. Okay, so now we are done with the user column. Okay, so we can toggle that, right? Great. So beneath it, great, we're gonna have another thing, but let's check and see. Okay, so we have our users, their names and their title. Okay, great. Now below it, it's where we're gonna have the subtask. The subtask. Okay, so the top part is equal, the same like this, right? Great. So then I can copy that. Okay, great. And the title, I think the title is also the same, so I can copy that. Okay, so the same styles, and this time is subtitles. I mean subtask. Okay, then we have a div. This div will also have space y-8. Okay, then inside it we have to also map, right? Map over the subtask dot map, or no, it should be small map, and we'll get each element or subtask. They will also get the index. Okay, then instantly we can return, right? Great. Okay, so what are we going to return? Let us return a div as well. Great, great. So let us have a key. The key should be equal to the index. We can also set it to the ID of the task. Okay, so let's give classes to this. It should be index. Great. So classes flex and gap of 3. Okay, so inside it, what are we going to have? Inside it, we need to have an icon. So we'll put it inside the div, and inside the div we'll put the icon, and this icon is already imported, right? Great. We're given a color of this color. Let us start this icon, the div. So we have a width of 10 and a height also of 10. It should be flex. The item in it should be center, justified to also center. It should be fully rounded, so rounded full. And the background should also be violet dash 200. Great. You can put any color of your choice. Okay, so we can check and see. Now we have this check icon, right? Good. We have this check icon. Okay, so now that we have the icon, let's continue. So beneath the icon div, right here, great. Let us have the details of the task. So a div with classes of space y of 1. Great. Inside it, we have a div, okay, class name, which is flex gap of 2 and items to center. Inside the div, we'll have a span tag, and the span tag will show the date. So I'll just, span tag will have a date, which will say new date, right? And pass our date to it. So el dot, then date. Yes, I think it's date. Close it, then dot to date string. Okay, we don't want that long date with the time. We just want only the date. Great, and we close it. Close this first, then this. Okay, let me make sure I have the parentheses right. Okay, so there's an extra one. Great. So let's start its classes. The text should be SM and a color of gray 500. That's gray dash 500. Great. Beneath it, we have another span tag that will show the el.tag. So the tag that we provided will show the tag here. Okay, so let's also style it. Classes or class name. We want px of 2, py of 0.5. The text should be in center. The text should be small sm. It should be rounded dash full. We want a bg of violet dash violet dash 100. Good. Then the text should also be violet dash 700. Great. Then the font should be semi bold. Okay, great. So we can check it and see. Great. So we have something like this. So we have the date, then the tag, right? And this is tag as tutorial. Okay, great. Okay, so if you have come to this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, great. So go beneath this div, right? Great. Beneath it. And now let's have a paragraph tag that will give the title of the task. Okay. Okay. So let's have classes for this. The test should be gray-700 and that's all. Okay. Okay. So now let's check. So now we have only one sub task. Okay, great. So we will move to the right side. Yeah, the right side. Oh, okay. So here it's supposed to be the left instead. Okay. And here, right. Great. Okay. So here we're just going to have the image. Okay. So as usual, as we have always the title, I'll bring the title, right? And the title will say just say assets. Okay. So let's have another div. Okay. Now and give classes. Okay, so here the class should be with full. We're going to use grade box, grade and grade columns. The number of columns that we want is 2, right? And a gap of 4. Okay, so we want grade, it should be grade and grade columns of what? 2. Okay, so now inside it, let us map over, right? Our assets dot map. So we'll get each item and index again. Great. Then instantly we can return let's return the image tag. Okay, great. And you know the image tag takes some properties, right? Great. So now we have first have key. It's important, so let's put the index as a key for optimization. Let us also put the source. We can have image without source. Great. So the source is the EL. If you remember where we're getting the images, the assets from. Okay. Okay, and what again? The alt tag. The alt tag can be anything. You can put anything there, or you can put the task title, right? Great. Task dot title as the alt tag. Great. And now let's go check if we actually have the images. Great. So we have 1, 2. Great. Or meaning then the dummy data we even imported is not necessary, so you can delete that. Okay. Okay, so now let's style it. We want it to be full width, right? We want it to be rounded. We want a height of 28, and on MD the height should be 36. On 2XL, height of 52. Okay, so normally it should be 28, and on MD 36, and on extra large of 52. Okay, we also want the cursor to be pointer. Great. And we want to see if we can get a little bit of animation. So transition off with duration of let's put it to 700. Okay, so on hover, then we scale the image a little bit. Scale the image to 125, right? Hover, we'll also do z index of 50. We want it to be above all. Okay, so let's go check and see. So now this is what we have. So if I hover over it, you see the image scales up like that. Great. And the z index is to let it be above this one. So okay, so it scales up gently. Okay, great. Great job. Okay, so now let us see. Okay, great. So now let's go here and also work on the other side of our the activities, other side. Okay, the other tab, I should say. Great. Okay, so now we are done with this part. What is 0? If not, then here. Okay, so here we're just going to say that we want activity. Let us separate it so that you don't get confused. So activities, then we'll pass the activity as task dot activities. Great. Okay. Okay. Activity. Okay. It should be activities. Okay. Great. I think that's the spellings. Good. Okay. Now, because we'll be creating the form in there, you know that we'll be also needing the ID of the particular activity, right? Good. So the ID we destructured, let us pass it straight. And we can even create it here. So the cons, because this is where we will need it. We will not need it anywhere again. Great. So we can now destructure the props, which is activity, and the ID. Okay, great. And let's go like this, then we'll return. Let's give a div. Okay, great. Okay, so in here also we'll have a few things. So I'll just copy this state variables and bring it them here. So we have selected, right? Now if you remember, you know that we have the selected tag, right? Whether the activity, if you want to post it, whether it should be started or those things, right? If you remember, they are here. Great. So maybe we can use this. We can even use this instead of manually setting it. We can use this also like this. I can say this, then pass the index. So this is also the same thing. And we also have the text itself that the user will enter. Okay, great. Okay, great. So here we also going to have two sides, the activity itself and the part that shows the input box for the user to type, right? Okay, so the styles will be similar to the one we just did. So I'll just copy and bring it. Okay, so if you see, we have full width, right? Flex, gap of 10, and gap of 20 on 2XL screen. And we want it to take the minimum screen of the full screen, right? Okay, so that's where we have min height screen and bx of 10, py of 8, and a bg wide and shadow rounded MD justified to between, that's to left and right, and we also have overflow y auto. Okay, so as we did here, we'll also have two sides, right? So one side, so the first side will take full width, and on MD it will take 1/2. However, the other side should not be same, so also be a full width, but on MD we want just 1/3 part, right? Okay, so yeah, 1/3 part. Okay, or we can make this 2/3. Anyway, do it whatever you want. Just modify the stars according to your need or your preference. Okay. So in it, as we have been always having the title, I'll just copy and bring the title inside here. Right, okay, so gray 600 says semi-bold and the text should be large with margin bottom of 5, and we're saying activities. So now we have a div for the activities itself. Great. So we have class width of full and space of y of 0. We do not want spaces. Okay. Then we can, okay, let's remove it. Let's remove it and see. Okay, so now let us map over the activities we are receiving, the activity. dot map, right, we'll get each item, which we can say either el or item, any name you want. Okay, good. This should be index. Okay, index. Then immediately let us return. Okay, so we'll return card. Okay, card. We'll create a card shortly, and the card will take key of the index. The card will take an item which will be equal to the el. Okay, the item we destructured, we getting, and whether to say that is connected. Okay, connected should be equal to index. You understand this shortly, less than activities or activity.length, right? Activity.length minus 1. Okay, so let me show you from here. So you see that if you check from here, now you see there is a line, right? Good. So that's line, that's what we want to show. That if I make another post, let's say bag. Okay, let me click on bag and say bag found. Let's see. Okay, my internet today is a bit slow, but let's manage it. Okay, so we're talking about this line, whether it should be connected or not, right? Okay, whether it should be connected. So we have a line connecting each task to one another, connecting each task to another. So we have, I mean, each activity, then there will be a line to the next one. My internet is pretty slow, but however, let's go on. Let's go on. Okay. Okay, so let us go create this card. Let us create this card, and we can create it right inside the activity here. We don't have to go far. So const card should be equal to card, which will take an item. Okay, then return will come here, a div, great, good. Okay. Okay, so now in the card here, now let's give classes. It should be flex and space x of 4. Okay. Okay. So let's go here. So inside it, let's have another div. Okay, classes, call class name, flex column, items center, and flex of shrink 0. Okay, so inside this, now we first need to get the icon and the type, right? Okay, so I'll just copy and bring this. So here, what we have is that we have a div with height 10, width 10, height 10, flex item to center and justify to center, and we have the icon type, which we have about here. Maybe I can close this side, which we have here, right? Okay, so we want to select one of them on the basis of the type of that task. Okay, so once we get the icon, we also need to have a div, great, and this div will show okay, this div will be for I mean the line we want to get. Okay, so we'll say that class class, how are we gonna do it? Okay, so let's say class names, this should be width of full, right, flex, and items to center, great. And inside it we'll have a div. I think we can make it self-closing and give classes. Okay, so the width should be 0.5 and a bg of gray dash 300 and height of full, great. So we can have something like this. Okay, so this is one side, Great. So beneath this, let's continue. Okay, so here let's have another div. Great. With classes of class name, flex column, gap of y of 1, and margin bottom of 8. Great. Okay, let's continue. Then we have a paragraph tag that will have the item dot by dot name. Okay, so now the task or the activity has by, and the by will be who posted it. I mean, the activity was posted by. By the by property will have the name and I think the ID. Yeah, so we want only the name. Okay, so let's style it. Let's style this. Okay, give it a name, class name. Okay, so we want font of semi bold, only font of semi bold. Okay, let's go check it and see if we're still working. Okay, I don't think this has an activity. Okay, so maybe we can check from our data and see the task which has activity. So task, good task. Which of the task has activity? Activity. There's no activity here. Okay, I think there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's try it and see. So let's just change the tax index from here, right, to I think it should be 3 or 2. Let's see. Okay, great. So we have this. Good. Okay, great. Okay. So great. So now we have by the name. Great. And beneath it, we have another div. Class name. Okay, class name test of gray dash 500 and space of y of 2. Okay, great. Inside this div, we have two span tag, one for the type and the other for the time which it was posted. Okay, so we'll have it like this. Span. Great. Okay, so we have two span with class of capital, the item dot type. We just want to know type, and also we're using moment to know from now when it was posted. Okay. Okay, let's check and see. So we have this saying that it's comment, right? And a month ago, it was posted a month ago. Okay. Okay, so this, I think this is not showing. The name is not showing. Item by the name. Okay, so let me check. So activities, by. Oh, okay. So in here, the by is just the ID, but when we're fetching from our database, we'll use the ID to populate the username, right? So what we can do here, it's maybe we can just put a dummy object here, right? And this will be underscore ID, right? And the other one will be the name, which we can say CodeWave. Okay, that's great. Let's see if it will work. Yeah. Okay, so now we have the name here. Great. Okay, so now and beneath this div, right after the span, we'll come down and have another div which will actually render the activity itself, the content, right? So the test should be grade 700 and the activity itself will be shown there. Okay. Okay, so now this is the content itself. You can also use a paragraph tag or yeah, a span tag to show it. Anyhow, great. So this is the card. Great. So if I go to the here and the activity, it's only one, and I duplicate it like maybe 1, 2, and this time I'll change this to started. Great. And I will alter the ID so that and alter this ID and change one to commented or comment. I think it should be something like that. And let's go see if great. So now you see that we have different icons, and I don't know if you can see the line. It's connected. I think I'm not seeing the line. Um, I'm not seeing the line too. Let me check from here. It's here nicely. I'm not seeing the line here. Okay, so let's find a way around it. Let's see. Okay, good. Mm, uh, Still not showing. Okay, I think I'll have to find a way, and yeah, the updated code will be on GitHub. So let's just continue. Okay, great. So now we have that our card, right? And that card is done. Yeah, okay, and in the second part, right beneath here, we're gonna have our form. Yeah, form. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just copy and paste it, then we explain. Great. Okay, we have a lot to cover. Okay, so here, what are we doing is not this side. Okay, we are done with this side. Okay, so we're here. Okay, so we have a title that says add activity, and the various activity types we are mapping over them, right? We are mapping over them and setting them to an input box, then with the name as well, right? So the input box, and we're taking the type as checkbox. So we check when you click on it, then we set the selected to the one you selected, right? And we're also checking that whether it's checked, whether the selected is equal to the item, right? The one we have destructured from here. If it's equal to it, then the check should be true, else it should be false because you can't select two items. If we don't put this clause, I mean, two items can be selected at a time. Okay, so we don't want that. And we also have a text area, right, which value is the text, and we want a row of 10 by default, and we have a placeholder of type, right? Yeah, and we have given classes. Yeah, there's classes here. Great. And when we are posting it, this loading is not yet there. Great. When we are sending it, we want to have the loading, right? And if we are not loading, then we show the button. Okay, with this function, so we just go and create this function then. Okay, so in here, perhaps I should just get I can just say const loading should be equal to false, right? Okay, was it loading or is loading? It's loading, it's loading. Okay, I just want to create a dummy variable for it. It's loading. Great. So that app does not crash. So const then the function, which will be I think an async function. Great. And it will be empty for now. Okay, const. Great. So let's check and see. So now we have this form, right? And we can check, put the content, then submit. Okay, great. So this is how far we have come. Okay, so I think we can check on the other pages and create our forms. Okay, so we'll not waste much time. We'll just do a lot of, if possible, copy and paste and explain what is happening in there. So if I go back here, this takes some time. I don't know why, but I mean, okay. So let's create the various forms, the form to add task as well as the subtitles, subtask, I should say. Wait, subtask. Okay, so if you come here, you see that there's this button, we have to make it work. Okay, so how are we going to do it? Okay, so how are we going to do it from here? Okay. Okay, so I think we can close this, and go here. Then let us go to the task page here, right? Great. Okay, and I think okay, so beneath here we can have the modal form as add task. Great. And add task will take open, right? It should be equal to open, should be equal to open, and set open equal to also set open. And I want to believe we have the variables up there. Okay, we have them here. Great. So now let us create this. So inside the component, maybe we can add it to add task here. Add task.jsx. Now I think I have extra name GSS. Great. So RFCE. Great. We can go here and import it. Great. Great. So this form will accept open and set open. Okay. Now, because we are going to make this a modal form, right? And we will use a wrapper around it, so to be able to reuse it. So we'll create a modal wrapper, right? And we are using headless UI. So the headless UI is a transition, all those dialogue. We need not to repeat them. So I'll just create a wrapper, right? Okay, so I'll create this wrapper. It should be inside here. I'll say modal wrapper.jss. Okay, and I'll paste this code. Okay, so now let us explain what is happening here. So we taking dialog and transition from headless UI. We also importing fragment as well as use ref from React. Okay, and we have modal wrapper. So we accept the open function and the open state, right, variable, and the function to set open, as well as its children. Okay, then we have created a cancel ref here using the use ref, and we set it to default to now. Okay, so we have the transition.root, and we are saying show should be equal to open, and it should act as a fragment. Now, the dialog will also act as a div, right? And the classes we have given is it should be relative with its z index of 10, and it should be full width, right? And whenever we click on anywhere, right, initial focus, whenever we click on anywhere, we want the thing to close, right? So here we have passed the ref to in order to track the ref, the cancel ref, right? And also on click of close, when we click on the close, we just want to set close to false so that we'll close the dialog. Okay, so if you notice these things keep repeating and we have them here again, okay, it will also act as a fragment. Now in the transition.child, inside it is where we have sorry, this is here. Okay, great. So in here, in the transition.child, I think I have repeated these things. Okay, now it's not repetition. Okay, so in this, yes, great. So in here we have a div. So we want to have that background, right? We want to kind of blur the background. So we're using a background of black, and we're setting the opacity to 60, right? So that, you can see through, but you know that the focus is not on what is on the background, so that the focus will be on the form that we have. Okay, so we have these two divs, and inside it also we have transition, and now this is where the actual thing will happen. So now we have here where we'll render the content or the children, what it's coming inside here, so that this thing will be reusable and we only need to pass the child. I hope you understand what I mean. Okay, great. So in here, okay, so in here now, first I will call the wrapper. So I'm going to say modal wrapper, right? Great. So inside it, then I'll pass the form. Okay, so if you remember, it takes open, which we can pass the open here. It also takes set open. We can pass the set open here, right? Great. Oh no, I don't have to bring this. Great. And the children will come inside here. Okay, so the children will be a form. Great. And okay, so the form will have we're going to make use of the dialog title, right? Great. So inside this form we have the form. We're going to have the dialog title. The dialog is coming from headless UI, so make sure you import it. And we are passing, it should act as an h2, and we're passing the task. We will pass the task title. Now I will want to take off this for now, or let me say that const task equal to now, because we want to use the same form to update the task. So if the task exists, then it should be update task. If it does not, then we'll say add task. Okay, maybe let's go and check. So if I click here, I'm supposed to set great. Like if I click here, you see that I set the form to true. Okay, so this is what we are creating. Okay, so let's go here. If click on this, let's go check. So inside task, there is this button, right? Great. And this button should have an on-click event, and on the on-click event, we will set open to true. Okay. Okay, so now we have a button. So let's add the on-click event. So on click, we'll just have to set open to true. Okay, and when you go into the button here, don't forget that you also need to set the on click here to the on click function we are passing, right? Okay, so make sure you also have this one here. Okay, so we can save, then go and try it and see if it works. So when we click, okay, so now we have this small pop-up here or modal. Okay, great. So now let us continue. Okay, so inside it, right, here, okay, so beneath the title, right, we'll have a div, one div, yeah. Okay, let's give classes. So class name, it should be empty top 2, that is margin top, flex column, and a gap of 6. Great. So inside it, we'll have a text box. Okay, and we have a text box, so import it. So now let's begin to provide the props. So placeholder of task title, right? Great. A type of test name. The name should be title. The label should be task title, right? And a class name. The class name should be width of full and rounded. Great. And also we will use React hook form, right? React hook form. So let's import it. Okay, so just come up here. The cons we'll need it from React hook form. Okay, so use form. Use form is coming from React Hook form. Great. Now inside this, what are the things we'll need? First, we'll need the register function. Okay. We'll need the handle submit, right? And we'll also need the form state. Okay, and in the form state, we'll have the errors. Errors. Great. 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 Okay. So now, so we register our individual components, the form components. Then on submit, we'll submit this, but we'll also will pass our function. So we'll have our function like submit handler. Great. Great. So we'll have a function like this. So on submit, so we can just pass it straight here that on submit of the form here, we'll pass the handle submit from the React Hook form. Then we'll pass our submit handler to it. Okay, great. So now with this, we don't have to set e.prevent default, event.prevent default, because it will be handled by React Hook form handle submit. I hope you understand. So we need to register our component. We need to register our component. So how do we register it? So we just have to say register, right? So I don't know if you check here, you know that we're passing the register function here. Great. So we just have to say register. Then what's equal to? Is equal to the register from React Hook form, right? Then how are we registered? We register it as title. So the name is also title, right? Great. And we'll say it is a required field. It is required field. And if you don't provide it, the error is title is required. Great. Title is required. Great. So if you don't provide it, I mean, this is the error that we'll get. Great. Also, let's pass the error. Great. Should be equal to errors. Okay, errors dot title exists. If the errors dot title exists, then we'll pass errors dot title, right? Title dot message. Great. Else we'll pass nothing. So if there is an error for the title, right? If that one exists, they'll pass the error, and in the title there should be a message. We'll pass the message. If it doesn't exist, we'll just pass now or nothing. Okay, great. So that's it, and we'll have other components as well. Okay, but then if you check from here, so okay, so now we have this. Now if you check from here, okay, if you check, you see that this I think something has happened to my network. Let me check and see. Okay, let me make sure my servers are running. Okay, let me log out and log in again and see. Okay, so okay, we are in again. Okay, so if you check here, you can see that there is a drop down, right? So we need to get this as well as get all of this done. Okay, great. So let's move to this. Okay. Okay. So how do we get this user list, right? So after this, right, we need to get user list. We need to get all the users that we have, right? Okay, great. And we'll pass set theme, right? A state variable to it, which is set theme. Okay, great. And what again will we pass? We also pass the theme itself. Okay, great. So I will just create the state up there. Okay, so I'll just come here and create set theme. Okay, and as I said that we'll use this same form to update. In case we are updating and we fetch the task, we will pass the default task theme to it. If that one doesn't exist, then it should be nah. I hope you understand. Okay, so if we are updating it, then we need to pass the old team members to the theme. If it is not, meaning if that's not exist, then we fall back to nah or empty. Okay, so let us go and create this user list. Okay, user list. Okay, so how do we get this user list? So inside the task, right? Great, we'll have user list.jsx. Great, so refce, save, then come back and import it. Great. So now go back to user list and accept the props or the parameters, which is set theme and theme. Okay, great. Great. Okay, so we will have to fetch the users, right? Let's see if I have a dummy user data. Okay, there's only one user and okay, so I have some users here. I think I'll use that one. So I will first get the data. I will just say cons data is equal to summary rate dot, I think, users. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, and I will also need a state. That is, I need to get the selected users, right? And the set selected users, which will be an array. Import this. Okay, so let me bring the icons that we'll need, as well as those things we'll need from headless. So we'll need list boss transition. You can go to headless documentation for details on it, right? Because I will not be able to tell you all. Okay, so we need a list boss and transition, and I hope you pretty aware of the transition, right? We'll need fragment, use effect, and use state, and also these icons. Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's go in here. Now I'll put a paragraph tag. And what will the paragraph tag do? The paragraph tag will just say select or okay, let's say assign tags to, right? So assign tags to, I mean, then the members that you want to assign the tags to follow. Okay, so it should be let's give classes, the classes of test dash gray dash 700. Great. So beneath it, then we'll have the list box from headless, right? Great. So list box. Now let's pass some props. So we'll first need to pass value, which will be equal to selected users. right? Great. Selected users. And on change, right? On change, what we're going to do, we'll get the user, right? We'll get the users, the elements selected. Then we just pass handle, okay, we can say handle change, then pass the data. Okay, so let us create the handle change function here, up here. So you can say const handle change. Great. Okay, it's handle change. Great. Then we'll take the element. Great. Okay, so we'll set selected, right, users to the element we are getting, right? And we'll also set team also to element. Then we want to map, right? Because it's not going to be one user, right? Okay, so if let's finish, then I will explain what's happening. Okay, so we want to map, right? So we'll get each I'll say user, I can put E, right, which will be equal to u dot underscore id. Great. Okay, so we just set each map over them. I think that's all. Great. Okay, so we'll map over the element that we are getting, right? And each member will just return the ID because we only need the ID. Now, if you check from here, you see that I can select multiple users, right? And when we select multiple users, we only show their name, but we don't need the name. We need the IDs, right? We need the IDs. That is why in our code here, we are mapping over the elements selected and getting the IDs instead. We'll return the IDs instead of the names, right? Okay. Okay, great. So what is our error? The error is usage from React. Or is it coming from user list? Okay. Did I import it? Okay. And this is imported. Okay, great. So why is it say? Okay, great. I think we have it here. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, great. Okay, and so once we don't change, we also want to pass a prop known as multiple, right? So we should be able to select multiple items, not only one item. By default, it is set to only one item. So here we want to be able to select multiple team members. Okay. So a div will have relative and margin top of 1. Okay, great. Now this list boss, I had a classes from headless, so I'm just going to copy and paste it. It's very long. Okay, so we have listbox.button, right? The one you click on for the drop down to come. So we have relative, right? It should be with full cursor of default and rounded and background of white. Padding left 3, padding right 10. Text should be left px of 3, py of 2.5, and on 2xl py of 3. Border, it should be border grid 300, right? And we don't have the dark, so I can remove this. Great. Okay, so in here, what will we have inside? Okay, so now let us have a span tag, and the span tag will say selected. So now we need to map over the selected users, right? Map. We'll map over the selected users and get each user, right? And we'll get each user. What we'll return is user.name. Great. we'll return user.name. But because we don't want to return only one username, right? I mean, we need to separate. We'll return, if there are more users, we'll return all the users their names. So what we'll do is we'll just need to bring .join, right? We just want to separate them and by comma, right? .join. Okay, so comma then space, right? So that the names will be separated. One then you see comma, meaning you see so multiple, so that you don't think that it is just one user. Okay, so the classes of block, then truncate. Great. Now beneath this span, we'll have another span. Great. Another span. So let's give classes. Okay, we'll say pointer event to none. It should be absolute, and insert y of 0, right, that 0, flex item center mpr of 2. Okay, then inside that we'll have an icon, right? Great, we'll have an icon. I'll show you the icon. Okay, so let's reload and see. Okay, so if you check, you see that we have an icon in here, right? Great. So that's what we're dealing. And you see that when we have a lot of them selected, there are commas separating them, so that you know that it's not just one, but there are more. Okay, already been declared. Use state has already been declared. Use state. Okay, great. Great. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so now you can see we have the icon here. Great job. So far so good. Okay, so now let's continue. Now that we have the icon, now beneath the bottom, right? Great, we're going to have our transition. So I'll just copy and paste it. Great, transition. Okay, great transition. And inside it we'll have another list box, but this time will be listbox.options, right? Listbox.options. Okay, and we have the styles of z index. We want the options to be above all the elements. So z index of 50, right? It should be absolute, margin top 1, maximum height should be of 60, full width, and overflow to auto, right? Okay, and we have rounded empty, background white, py1, text base, shadow lg, ring 1, ring black, -5 for opacity focus, outline none, and sm text should be also sm. So now what we have to do now is to map, right, or loop over the data. So data, if it exists, then we'll just map over it, and we'll get each individual user with the index. Okay, and what are we returning? We will return a list boss dot option. Okay, so you see that this we are returning, this is list boss dot option. So we are going to return each, options, the various options. Okay, so we'll have key, which will be the index. Okay, then we can have classes, class names. Okay, so in class name here, now headless helps us to get whether it is active or not, right? So we'll destructure it like this, right? We'll get active. Now when we get active, what are we going to do with it? We need to know that this one has been selected or this one is not selected. So if it is selected, then we can pass classes. Okay, so what will be the classes? It should be relative. Okay, relative, cursor, dot default select to none, great, py of 2, pattern left of 10, pattern right of 4.5. Okay, 4 point pattern right of 4. Okay, it should be 4. Okay, then let us add extra styles. So we'll say that if active, right, if it is active, then we add other classes, else we great. I hope you understand what we're doing. So these are the default classes, and if that particular option is active, we'll add this styles. If not, then this styles. Okay, so if it is active, what we're going to do, the background should change to amber 100, right? And the text should also change to amber 900. And if it is not, the text should be gray dash 900. Okay, so if it is active, we change the text to amber, the background to amber 100 and the text to amber 900. And if it's not, it should be the same gray. Okay. Then this option. Okay, so the class is ends here. So the value, okay, value should be equal to user. So the value should be equal to this user. Okay. Now inside here, right, let us open an object, parenthesis, another object, and get selected, right? So headless made us easy to get whether it is the selected or not, right? So when it is active, when it is also selected, it is selected. So when it is selected, what we will do, we need to visually tell the user so that the user will know that it is selected, right? Great. So when it is selected, what are we going to do? What we'll do is that, okay, let us get a div here, right? And let's pass some classes. Okay, so we'll say classes. We can even use the CLSX function. Okay, great. So we'll pass classes of flex, item to center, gap of 2, truncate, right? We don't want to truncate. And let's go behind it and say if selected is true, right? Font dash medium, right? Great. Else font dash normal. Great. Okay, so if it's selected, we want the font to be a little bit bold, else it should be normal. Okay. Inside this div, we have another one. Okay, class name, width of 6, height of also 6, rounded of full. It should be full. Okay. Test white. Test of white. It should be flex. Items to center. Justify to center. And a BG of violet dash 600. And we'll bring as usual our initials, right? Okay, inside it. So I'll just copy and paste it. You know the drill, and just import this. Great. So we'll bring the initials. Okay, so far let's go check and see if we are making progress. Okay, so the app has crashed. Let's reload and see. So if I click here, it crashes. Okay, so let's check and see what errors are we having. Okay. Okay, so above error, userless component. And what is the error? The error is transition is not defined. Okay, transition is not defined. Transition. Great. So let's import transition from headless UI. Okay. Okay, we're still getting error. But again, okay, the above error, which is fragment, is also not defined. Okay. So fragment, I thought I imported all of them. Anyway, let's go. Okay, so great. So we have it here. Okay, the list is not showing. Okay, so let's go check it. Great. Okay, so when we have the list beneath the span, this showing their name, right? We come here and have another span which will show the name, which is user dot name. Great. I think up to this point we should have data. We should show something. Let me see if I'm getting the data. So I'll console log data. Yeah, and I think I have it. I have the name. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I don't know why, but let me reload and see. Okay, let's try something. Let me, you'll say, instead of we having selected being equal to 0, or now I'll say data, then let me pass the first index, so at least I have like one selected to see if it will work. Okay. Okay, so selected users dot mark is not a function. Okay. Okay. So then let me put it inside this, something like this, and see. Okay, so now you see we have one. Okay. So now we have one here. Okay, great. Okay, so okay, let's continue. Great. Okay, so now we're showing the name. I'm showing the name in here. Okay, great. So beneath, after the name, right? Yes. Here we will check the selected, right? So if it's selected, then we have a span tag, and in the span tag, let me just copy and paste. We need to just show an icon that shows that this is selected, right? Okay, so now we have this. Okay, so if the selected is true, we're going to have a span tag which will show this icon, right? We'll show this icon with these classes. Or if it's not selected, then just this now or nothing, right? Okay, so if you check here, now you see that we have an icon to the right, meaning it is checked, right? Great, great. You see, so now it's working fine. Great, great job. Oh, okay, great. So far, so good. Let's continue on. Okay, so basically that is our list. I mean our user list, right? Great. Okay. Okay. So I'll have this use effect. So let's just add it straight up before we leave. Okay, here, and let's have the dependency. Okay, so let's me import it. Use effect. So first we'll check that if this team list that's coming is less than 1. If it's less than 1 means it is 0. Then we'll also check if the data exists. Then we set at least. So here now I can leave this to now, right? So if the team list is now, meaning it is fresh, you now want to select, right? Then also check that if this is not now, then we just we select the first person by default, right? Great. If this is not now, it means you have already, meaning you're about to update one, then we just set the list to the old team members. Okay, great. So let's go see that if it's still, yeah, maybe reload, click and see. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so now let us continue. Okay, so our user list is done. Back to our form. Okay, so user list. Now the user list is done. We need to get a select box, right? A select box for those select the tax options, those things. So div class name, which will be flex and a gap of 4. Okay, great. So we're gonna have a select list. So I'll say select select. Okay, great. List and be a self-closing tag. Okay, we'll pass parameters of label. Will be the label. The label is task stage. Great. And the list itself will be the stages. The list will be the list that we have up there. I want to believe we have it, this list. Okay. So let's make sure we have this. Okay, I'll just import something here. I'll go up here, up, and paste this. Okay, so these are the list, whether it is to do, in progress, or completed, and also the priorities are this, right? As well as uploading links. Okay, this is just a variable. Okay, great. Okay, so let's continue from here. We will pass the list and selected, right, to stage, and set selected to also set stage. Okay, so I will have to declare this variable. Okay, it's a use effect, so I will just come leave the team and I'll just bring this. Okay, so we have stage and set stage is a use state, and we are setting it to the task that we have. If we have task, we're setting it and we're changing it to uppercase, because when we are saving it into our database, we'll save it as lowercase. So we just want to change it. If it doesn't exist, then we set it to the first one. That is the to do, right? Great. Okay, great. So now let us get this. Okay, so now let us go create this. So this one we'll create it. I think we can use it somewhere else. So let's select list.jsx array fce. Great. Save and come here and import it. Save it here. Okay, now we can come back and we can close this, close this, close this, and close this. Great. Okay, so in here, we need to accept the list selected, set selected, right, as well as the label. Okay, great. Okay, so this is also pretty common to that of the one we just did for the user selection. So I will just bring it, then we talk about it or explain it. Okay, so now it follows the same pattern, right? So first we have a div with full, and now we have a label, and we're checking that if the label exists, right? If we pass label, then we show it. If we don't pass label, we don't want to show it, right? Great. Now we have a list box from headless, so I'll import it, and we are passing the value as the selected, right? And also on change, we pass the set selected. Okay, so meaning we can also use it like this, or we can pass a function itself, right? Great. Now we have a div, and in the div we have a listbox.button, which has these classes, right? Like the one we did, and we can take off the dark. Yes, and we pass the on a span that we pass the selected, right? Now in this one you select only one. Okay, so we pass the selected. Then in another span tag we show the icon, the one that is selected, right? So let's import this icon. Okay, we import the chevron icon. Okay, to tell the user that it is a drop down, you can click on here to select items. Okay, then we also have the transition. Let's import it. Fragment, import fragment from React, right? And in here in the options, right, like we did, and here we'll have the option, the individual options, right? And as usual, like we did to the first one, whether it is active or not, and when it is selected, also we show a background color of amber. And let's make sure we import this icon also. Great. So pretty much simple, like we did for the first one, the user list. Okay, so let's check and see. So now we see we have this. Great. So we have to do, and the other ones follow down there. Okay, so I mean, when we finish the form, because we don't have a specific height for the form, so that's why it overlaps like that. Okay, so I think we're making progress. Okay, so now we're going to show the date to the right. Great. Great. So back here. Okay, so we have another text box. So that one I'll just copy and paste it in the same folder. I mean, in the same div with the select, because so here we just have date, setting the type to date and index and that, and we're registering it as date. Great. Okay, so in the next one we'll have another one which I'm going to just copy and paste it. Okay, so this one ends here, so I'm going to bring this one here. Okay, so now we have this is the date. So now we have this. We have another select list, right? And we are passing the list as a priority. We want you to select the priority of the task. And also we need this, so we'll just create this shortly, right? The state variables. Okay, so the advantage of having components, reusable components, right? Now let's focus on this here. So we have a div where we want to have assets, right? The assets. So we want to select the assets, so we have to create this function, right? And we're using input, setting it to file, and you can have multiple files. You can select multiple files and just click on add assets, select them, then we'll upload them, right? So let us go and create this function as well as the state variables. Okay, so we need the priority variable. Let's go up here. Okay, so I'll just paste this. Okay, so I have it here. So if the task also exists, we get the old one. If it doesn't, we pass the priority from here, setting it to the third one. So we start from 0, 1, 2. So 0, 1, 2, we set it to normal. Okay, great. So now let us create the function. The function handle select, right? So we'll just change the name to handle select. Okay, I think we can work on that function, pretty simple. And when you click on that, we're going to set the assets. So I'll just, okay, let's continue. So we have this state to hold the asset. And when you select on the asset, what we're going to do is we're just going to say set asset, this one, set asset to e dot target dot files, because there can be multiple files. So we want to select all the files and not one file. Right, great. Very easy. Great. So now let us go down, 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 down. Yeah, great. So we're here. Okay. Okay, so we come down 1, 2, 3. So here, great. And we'll have read our button, right? Great. Now we will need to get whether we are uploading or when we are uploading the images and when we are when we are, wait, let me do it this way. Okay, a minute. Okay, so I will just copy this, great, and bring it. Now I am going to create a state here, right? That is const uploading and set uploading. So when we are uploading the images, right? So it is false in the beginning when we are uploading images and when we are not uploading. Okay. Okay, so go down here and I'll just paste this. Okay, so it's a div and we're checking. Instead of we're checking if it's uploading, we just want to say that uploading assets. If it's not, we'll show this button. Let's import it and pass this props to it, and also pass, and we have another button and pass this, which we can set the open to false. Okay, great. So this is our form. Let's check and see. So now we have this and we have a problem. Great. So we need to fix this, right? Great. Okay. So verse here. Okay, so let's begin from top here. So we have this, it's one, and this is another. Okay, so this should also be one. Okay, so meaning the rest are inside this, not this. Great, so we need to cut this and push it down beneath this div, bring it here. Great. So this is one, and okay, great. Yeah, this is one. Yeah, the whole of this is one, and that is also one. Great. Okay, so the first ones need to have two elements, the select and the date input, right? And the next one also have the same select and another input, which is for the assets. Okay, so yes, great. So we have it like this. So here, now we have the items, and you see because of the Z index, we have it above. So we can select more, right? Great. So here we also have this, we can select only one. And here we have a date that we can select. Here we can select this, select that, and we can also click to add assets. Great. When we click on cancel, it goes beautiful. Okay. So now let us think of the great. Okay. Great. So now let us think of how we can add. Let me change this to 0. Okay. So now that we're done with this, let us think of the subtask. Okay. So maybe I can just bring it then. Okay, so how can we add subtask? If we go into task, we have add subtask. subtask.gss, and I'll just copy and paste it. Then we talk about it here. Okay, it should be 1, 2, 3 dot. Great. So it is also a form like that. That's why I'm not talking much about it. Okay, so we have this. We will set open, and the ID of the form, right? And we are using React hook form also here. Okay, this function is not ready for now, so I'll comment it. And we have a handle submit function, which I'll comment what is inside because it is not ready. Okay, great. And handle submit. Oh, okay, that's what I just commented. So let's import the form modal wrapper, right? Great. And we have this. We have a function also. Let us import the dialog. Great. And let's import the test input. Okay, so we have test input, which will be for title, the subtitle, right? Great. And we also have another input, which will be for the date for that particular text. And we also have another one that we pass a tag to it. Okay, so after that, then we have our buttons, the various buttons, right? So we have a button, and this is for submit, and the another one is for cancel. So basically, we have 3 inputs and 2 buttons, one for title, the other for date, and the other for tag. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, good. So how do we get this? Okay, so we need to go to where we click in our form to add the sub task. And where is that? If you remember, it's in the task card, right? Task card. In the task card. Great. So let's search for task card. Okay, so if you remember, it's here. So we can just uncomment it and import it. Import subtask. Where is it? Add subtask. Great. Okay, great. So now we have it here. So if we click on here, okay, let's check the on click event of that. Where do we have that button? Subtask. I want to believe it's where is it? I think it's here. I think this. So yes, this. Okay, so we can say on click, right? We're going to set open, right, to true. Great, and I think it should work. Click. Okay, great job. We're making progress. Okay, so we're making progress. Great. Okay, so now let us fix the dialog here real quick. Okay. Okay. So the dialog. Okay, so the dialog will use menu items from headless. Okay. Okay, so I think if you remember, we commented it somewhere here. Let me search for dialog. Okay, so we have it created already. So let's go in. Great. Okay, it's here. So now let's begin to work on it. So we have a few things to declare. So I'll just copy and paste some of them. Okay. So I have a couple of use states. Okay. So I have open and set open edit, and as well as open dialog, right? Great. And also there is also use navigate here. Okay. Now let me bring the list items. So I'll come down here. and paste the various options. I think I can remove this. Okay, great. So what are the options that we have here? Okay, let me go up. So we have open task, right? And there's this icon. So I'll import the icon. It's not coming to, let me just copy and bring them. Various icons, icon. Okay. Okay, so I've got the icons. So we have icons with classes, right? And we have an on-click event. When we click on that, we navigate to task, then the task ID, meaning we'll open the task, right? And there's also another one that's the edit. When you click on edit, we set the set edit to true, right? Okay. And there's another one that says add subtask. When we click and we set open to true, right? Okay. And there's another one that you can duplicate, a duplicate function that you can duplicate the various tasks, right? Okay. So now let us do this, create the duplicate function, right? The duplicate handler. So say cons duplicate handler equal to, then we'll just make it now or empty for now. Great. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we'll have inside here we have a menu list. Okay, so first we have a menu list. Okay, a menu list, and the menu list is coming from headless, so import it. Okay, with relative inline block and text left. All these are found in the documentation, and we'll have a menu.button. So menu.button with inline flex, width full, justify center, round, MD, PX4, PY2, text XM, font medium, text gray, 600, right? Great. Great. And in it, we'll have an icon, which has already been imported, I believe. Great. Great. So now you see we have this icon in here. Great. So when we click on it, then the drop down will show. Okay. So beneath it, we're going to have the transition as usual. So transition, and let's make sure it is imported. Import transition from headless, import fragment from React. Okay. Now inside it, we'll have the menu items. Menu items. Okay. So menu items with this classes of absolute P4, right 0 MD MT2, width of 56, origin dash top dash right. Okay, and we want a divide Y, divide gray. Okay, move this. Divide gray 100 rounded MD, BG white shadow LG, and ring 1 as well as ring black /5 and focus outline none. Okay, inside it we'll have a div. Okay, and in the div now we'll begin to loop over the various items. Okay, so let me just copy and paste it here. Okay, so how are we going to do it? Okay, so there's it. So the items that we have, we are going to map over the items, right? Or map over the item, we get each individual item, and we return menu item, right? Okay, so this is items and this is item. So we get a key as the label, and we get whether it is active or not, and we are returning button, a button component with on-click events to the on-click of that item we are returning. Okay, great. And we have these classes for it. Then we are showing the icon and the label inside that button, right? Okay, so we can save and see if we are making progress. Great. So now we have returned all these items, right? And on hover, see that we get a background of blue as we have specified, right? And when I click on this, I think, okay, let's go check it. Open, edit, edit. Okay, great. Subtask and duplicate. Okay. Okay, so let's check it. Okay, also beneath it we want to add an extra items, right? So I'll just copy and paste that one too beneath the div. Okay, so this is the menu item. Great. Okay, great. So beneath this div, I'll just add an item, and that item will be for delete click, right? When we click, when we want to delete an item. Great. So we just say delete, and this is the button, the icon. So we just have to create this function. Okay, so I will just copy and this, duplicate this, and just change the name to delete click. Okay. And okay, so it's like functions. The clicks are not working. Okay, click on click. Yeah, click of the item. Let's save it. Let's reload it and see. Great. So if I click here and I click on edit, open, nothing happens. Subtask, nothing happened, and duplicate. Yes, that one does not exist. This one. Okay. Let's check our console. Our console. Okay, clear. Now click. Great. So there is an error, which is task is not defined. Okay, that's absolutely true. Okay, so the task. Okay, so the task is not defined. And where is the task coming from? Okay, so yeah, we get the task through props here. Task. Okay, great. We get a task through props. Okay, so let's try it again and see if it will work. Okay, reload. Create this and open. Okay, so now it moves, right? Great job. Oh, okay, great. Okay, we can go back, and we'll click on open edit. Okay, add subtask. Okay, these ones are not working. I want to believe they also work. Okay. Okay, let's check it. So when you click on edit, we set this. Okay, open. Okay, so here what we need to do, right, is in this. Okay, so okay. Okay, so I'll wrap it in a fragment, right, and put the whole of this inside the fragment. Great, so nothing has really changed. And beneath it, we can now have the various forms, right? So we have the task, add task, as well as add a subtask. Okay, so I'll copy the two and bring them beneath here. Okay, great. So maybe once we're done, we can refactor and optimize our code. So import add task, and we'll pass this, those functions as this already, pass them, right? And also now, okay, let me import this lest I forget. Okay, so if you check, you see that we are passing a key to it. You see that we are not mapping, but I'm passing a key to it. Now, when in React, when you pass a dialog like that, sometimes when you pass data to it, you open it again, you still see the old data. Now, since I will not create a function to reset the form, I am passing a key with unique value all the time, which is I'm using the date, the time, getting the time, which will be unique anytime we open it. So anytime we open it, since the key is new, React will think that it's a new component, and it will force it to remount. So you can use this to force remount, right? Remount a component, so it will be destroyed. The old one will be destroyed and will be created again. So if you don't want to create a lot of code to reset your form, you can use this simple trick to reset your form. Okay, if you like it, just comment below. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's check and see if it will work. Okay, oh great. So now one has already opened. Okay, so if I click here that edit, it will open like this, right? Great. And when I also click to add subtask, this will also open. Great, great job. And when we click here, we get the user. Now everything seems to be working as expected, right? And this will also delete as well as duplicate. We can duplicate it. Okay, great. So what again is left? What again is left? I think we are only left with the various dialogues. When I click to delete and this, I should get a dialog box to yes. So now let us go into the confirmation dialog. That one, it's not really difficult to do, so I'll just copy and paste it to avoid time. We do not have enough time on our side, right? And then okay, so I will just call it dialogs, right? Dialogs.gss. Okay, and I'll paste this in here. Okay, don't be intimidated. We'll take it one at a time. Okay, so we are importing dialog from headless. We are importing this utility, and these are icons. Okay, and let me remove this. Okay, so first I have a function that's a confirm dialog. So basically there are two components in here. There's confirm dialog and user action, right? Okay, so in here we are accepting open, set open, and the message we can pass a dynamic message, and also the on click, and we set it to the default now function, right? Okay, and we set the type that the type default should be delete. We also have the set message as well as set type, right? Great. So maybe I can move this up so that you. Okay, so now we have a close modal, and when we close the dialog, we want to set the type to delete again. We set the message also to now, then we set open to false, right? And we are importing the wrapper and passing the open and the close function to it. Okay, then we also have dialog coming from headless UI, right? Which I believe it's up. Okay, it's there, right? Great, and we are passing the type to, and the title is dynamic here. So if the type is equal to restore, because we use the same dialog for restore, right? If we pass the type as restore or, right, we want the text color to be yellow as well as the background yellow, right? Then if it is delete, then it should be red. Okay, and the background also this, right? And we are passing an icon. This is the icon, right? The question mark icon. Okay, and we have the message part. So if the message exists, we show it. If the message does not exist, then we do this, that are you sure you want to delete the selected right item, or right, good. So we can pass dynamic message or use this. If you don't pass it, then we get this. Okay, then we get the action side or the buttons, right? So if it is also type restore or restore all, then the same background, else it should be red. Okay, then we have the pass the on click function here, and based on the type, we pass the message whether restore or delete. Okay, and also we have this to cancel the dialog. Okay, great. So this is the first one. Okay, for the confirmation. And the user action, this will be used to change the user status to either active or inactive, right? We disable it or we enable it, right? Okay, so we're using the same dialog. We have the title, right? And passing the title with the question mark, right? And the message is, are you sure you want to activate or deactivate the account, right? Then we have the button with the various action. Yes, that will pass to say, we have one to say yes, and the other to say no. Okay, so we can go back to our test dialog, and in the dialog here, we can also import the confirmation. Okay, since we'll be using it here, so we can import this from here, right? And we are passing the open and this, so we just need to create this function, which I will just duplicate one of this and change it to this for now. Great. Okay, great. So now in the here, okay, so the delete function, I mean, that's nothing. So let's go, I think we can go here inside the table. Great, a table here. Great. We open the table, and in the table, right? In the table, we have the delete click. So if you remember, we have the delete click here. So, and if we click on the delete, we will get the ID here, right? And when we get the ID, we will set selected, right, to the ID. And we set it to the ID, then we set open dialog to true. Great. Okay, so let's go check and see if we're still working. Okay, great. So here, if we click on this, okay, so it's not there yet. Okay, great. So we have it. Let's uncomment it here and import it. Great. And delete handler. Let's see where the delete handler. Okay, so I'll create the actual function that will do the delete, right? Okay, great. And let's see if it will work. Click here, and when I click here, great. So we have it. Delete yes or no, right? Great. Okay, so that is it. So we have all the forms. So now let us go to team, and in the team here, I think we have another form there. Let's quickly check it. Okay, so let's quickly check. It's delaying. Okay. I don't know why, but reload and see. Okay, great. So we have this, right? So let's quickly check on this one. Okay. So that is also pretty simple. So I'll close some of these things and go here, then go to users. Okay. Okay, so I'll go to users. And in the users, we'll have that add user form, right? Okay, so in here, we'll have three forms. So in here, I will close some of these things. Toggle them. Great. And okay, so maybe I can wrap this in a fragment. Great. And beneath this, yes, beneath this, I can put this. So now we'll need the add user. We will need this, which we have this already. So I can just import it. And we also have the user action, so I can import it. Now I just need to have these functions. So I'll just come here and create a function. Great. And I'll have this one also. So I'll just duplicate this, Control Alt, then arrow key down to duplicate it. Okay, great. So I have these two functions here. Okay. And I want to believe I have open and set open. Okay, they are all there. Okay, so let us create this here. Let's go create this. Okay, selected, everything is here. So in the component, we'll do add user.jsx and refce. Great. And we can now import it. Great. Now this also follows similar pattern, right? Okay, so I will just bring some values. I'll bring some states in here. So here I am just getting the user from our storage, our state, and I'm also getting React hook form, right? Great. Okay, so I need to declare this variable here that let default value is equal to user data or nothing. Okay, so what is the user data? If you remember here, we are accepting open, set open, and we also accept user data should in case we want to update user data, right? And if you check from here, you can see we're passing the selected, the particular user will select, right? will come here as user data. So if it exists, we'll pass it as to the default values. If not, we make it empty. Okay. Okay. So here it's also pretty similar to all that we have done. So I mean, I'll just copy and paste it, then we talk about it. Okay. So let us go over it. It's just a form. So as usual, we have our wrapper. Let's import it. And we pass in the open and set open, right? And we have the handle submit function, handle on submit function. Okay, let us create this function. Great. So this will be our own function, which we will perform our action to our API. Great. We have a dialog with a title, and the title either update profile or add new. Then we have our form where we have the various user, inputs. Okay, and we have registered them. We have done this again and again. So we have 4 inputs. Great, and we have it's loading and it's updating. Okay, let me create a variable for them. Okay, when we make calls to our API, I mean, we'll get those states. But for now, let's say it's loading equal to false, comma, it's updating also equal to false. Okay, so we can also create variables like this. Okay, great. Great. So if it's updating or loading, we show the loader, else we show our button. Great. And there's also cancel button here. Pretty simple. Okay, so I want to believe if we click on in here, if we click on click functions, okay, so this function here, edit click, now, okay, so here, delete click. Let's work on this function first. Okay, so delete click. Okay, so I think I can also uncomment the edit click. Wait. Okay, we'll talk about this one later. So these two functions, when we click, okay, so when it is delete click, as usual, we'll set the set selector to the ID and we make this true. When it is edit, we'll also pass the ID and we make this also true. Okay, great. So if we check here where we have the button to add user, the button to add user is not here. It has to be inside here, right, to create a new user. It is here. Great. We set open to true. Great. Great job. So let us check. Okay, so if I click on this, I should be able to see a form. Great. Great job. Okay, great. So the validations are working. Okay, and when I click on this, I should be able to see this. Also, when I click on this, I should be able to see this, right? Great. So new user, this, yeah, great. And the data, it's populated here. Pretty simple. Great. Okay, so I think, okay, this and this. Okay, let's work on this quickly. Then the video is getting long and we'll meet in the next section. Okay, so trash items. Okay, so in the trash, we have the various opens. So we just need to get the actions. Okay, so we have restore or click and delete or click. So I will comment it. Great. And just create the function. Okay, so I'll just copy my functions and bring it here. Okay, so when it is click, we set the type to delete all, right? This is for delete all. And we set the message to this and we set the dialog to open. And when it is restore, we also set it to restore all the message and the open dialog to true. Right, okay. So let's check and see. If I click on this, I think, let me reload. If I click on this and this and that, okay, they are not working. Let's check it. Okay, so restore all. Oh, okay. We need to uncomment this, uncomment. Oh, okay, uncomment all. Great. So add user, add, add user, and confirm dialog. Am I in the trash? Okay, so let's check and see. Okay, great. If I click this, okay, so if I click all, I get this. And if I click on this, I get this. Great. So we are just using the various props to change it. Okay, and let us check the individuals. I don't think we need this here. So I'll comment it and see. I think it's a mistake on my side. I'll check it. Okay. And when here, also, I think we have this and this here. Great. That's for deleting one item, right? Great. So that is delete, click, and restore click. So I'll just copy and paste them as well. Okay, so I'll bring them here. It is not a big function. So I mean, we're just setting the type to delete, meaning one select to the ID, the one selected, and a dialog to true, and we're doing same here and just passing a custom message when it is this, right? Okay, so if I click here, okay, so we still get this, and when I click here, we also get this. Great. Okay, great. Okay, so I think I want to believe we have come to the end, and we'll meet in the next section. We'll start with our database and begin to do, our backend, begin to connect to our database and do the processing. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you also want the full source code, I think I'll put the link in the description. You can get it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also support CodeWave. See you in the next episode.